thank you and good afternoon to everybody. And thank you, Christophe, for this opportunity to share a piece of our research. We are working at Comillas University, and my colleague is Professor Eva Arenas, who is attending this meeting too. And we are talking about the high and very high temperature heat pumps, especially for industrial application, but as I will say later, it will be possible to apply in energy storage, for instance, on another type of applications. Okay. Well, we are talking about heat pumps, so we can start. Remember some conventional, some things about conventional heat pumps. That is Rankine cycle-based heat pumps. As you can see here in the pH diagram, we have the sink zone when we have two sensible zones, that is in the superheating and in the subcooling area. Here, the working fluid is changing its temperature, but we have an extensive area when where the working fluid is phase changing. This behavior can limit or can be a restriction for the heat exchanger in the demand side, as you can see here in this TQ temperature heat release profile. Here, due to the pinch point issue, we can see here that the maximum temperature achievable by the heat pump is not the maximum temperature that we obtain in the fluid that we are warming up. So we have a large difference, sometimes a large difference, because we can overpass this point. Sometimes even the working fluid usually limits the operation temperature if we want to achieve 200 degrees or more than 150 degrees. So the idea is to propose a new design to overcome all of these difficulties. As this is a conventional, or more or less a conventional heat pumps, we have commercial equipments from Carrier or for Rank or for another manufacturers. When we achieve a maximum temperature more or less 150 Celsius degrees. This is the top for conventional heat pumps. It's a good value, but perhaps in an industrial application, we want to achieve, or we want to reach larger temperatures in order to take advantage of this technology. That is, we can talk about electrification of heat. A variant about the classical Rankine cycle is the transcritical Rankine cycle. In this case, usually we work with CO2 as working fluid, and in the CO2, the critical point is more or less 32 Celsius degree, more or less. So we have an evaporator zone here, and in this one, we include a recuperator in the heat pump in order to preheat the inlet to the compressor, and so to remove this heat from the gas cooler in order to obtain a high temperature to the demand. In this case, as the gas cooler, not the condenser, the gas cooler doesn't have a phase change, we obtain this more favorable TQ diagram when we obtain a very close profile between the temperature in the CO2, in the working fluid in this case, and in the water that or the air that we want to warm up. And finally, this is our proposal for the heat pumps. We can design as advanced heat pump based on reverse Brayton cycle. Okay, we are using a Brayton cycle, that is, we are using a cycle with gas, not with a pure substance which can have phase change, but working as a gas. So no phase change in the heat release in this zone, and no evaporator in the source side, because we are far away from the dome. Okay. Again, a recuperator here allows that high temperature in the sink here, and in the same time we are preheating the compression suction, so we obtain a high temperature here. This is the effect of the recuperator, and we have removed the valve for the expansion, and we are replacing it by a turbine or an expander. CO2 is usually the best fluid to do this performance. Moreover, CO2 is a natural working fluid, a natural refrigerant, so it has a low global warming potential, 1 exactly, and 0 ozone deployment potential. Okay, if we have a high temperature source, more or less 100 degrees or higher, this will be more or less the position of the cycle in the pH diagram above the critical point of the CO2. But if we have intermediate temperature source, more or less 50 degrees, 40 degrees, 70 degrees, we move the cycle to this side. That is, here we are in the gas zone of the CO2, and here in the superheated vapor of the CO2. But in any case, without phase change in any case. Okay, which is the scheme of the layout of this heat pump? Firstly, this is the basic layout with a compressor, a turbine, and an engine, a motor to drive the equipment. We have the waste heat exchanger to recover the heat from the source, and the product heat exchanger to release the heat to the demand. This is the recuperator in order to move the heat from the excess from the demand to preheating the working fluid in the suction of the compressor. This reverse Brayton cycle is exactly the opposite of a closed cycle gas turbine. The turbine, as I mentioned later, replaces the valve of the typical reverse Rankine cycle. Turbocompressor sometimes are used in Rankine cycles, especially when we are moving a great deal of mass flow rate. And as you can see here, this is important for the next slide, the product heat exchanger, that is the gas cooler, this one is in the high pressure side, and the waste heat exchanger is in the low pressure height. This is the conventional scheme of a reverse Brayton cycle. However, we can plot another layout where we have moved the product heat exchanger here from this to this. Which is the advantage of this layout? That in this case, both heat exchangers, the waste and the product heat exchanger, are in the low pressure side. This is important because if we want to use a thermal energy storage system with molten salts, with hot air, with pebble beads or something like this, in this heat exchanger, the CO2 in the pipe, the CO2 has the lower pressure, 20 bar, 40 bar, 80 bar, more or less, but not the maximum pressure of the cycle. So this heat exchanger can be a conventional heat exchanger, and we can use molten salt or air in the secondary fluid without any limitation. On the opposite, in the recuperator, we have one string at high pressure and one string at low pressure, and perhaps depending on the points or the working conditions, this difference can be enough high in order to use here printed circuit heat exchanger, a PCHE. And the problem of this very compact heat exchanger is that the channels for each stream are very narrow. more or less 1 or 1.5 millimeters. So if we are using a molten salt, we may have clogging issues, or if we are using here we are using a gas or in one of the fluids, perhaps the pressure drop is very high. So in order to avoid this high difference of pressure, we move from this one to this one, and this can be a conventional heat exchanger. So this version, this layout is for any application where no thermal storage is needed, and this if thermal storage is needed because we want to integrate photovoltaic electricity and so on. And we have had a mismatch between the working of the heat pump and the demand of the heat. Okay. Well, and now some application of this type of heat pump. Here we can see a very high temperature application, basically what is known as Carnot battery, that is a thermal integrated pump thermal energy storage. Okay. Here we can see the very high temperature heat pumps. Here we have a power cycle and two thermal energy storage system and the source in this case. The source in this case is a solar field, a parabolic throw collector field that it is producing heat from 300 to 400 Celsius degrees. And perhaps, as I say later, the electricity input taken from the grid when there is an excess of electricity in the grid and there is a very low market prices. This situation perhaps cannot coincide with the solar radiation. So we store this thermal energy, and when we have very cheap electricity, that there are electricity in excess into the grid, we move this heat through the heat pump to high temperature. In this case, from 300, 400 Celsius degree to this high temperature storage from 400 and 600 degree. That is, we have a heat pumps producing very high temperature, of course, because we have a very high or intermediate level source here. Okay, when we want to discharge the system, we put a power cycle in order to be fed with this high temperature and produce electricity. What is the advantage of this configuration? Well, you can see when you have the presentation at this link, we can see that if we put here 1 unit of electricity, we can recover with this configuration and usual values, we can recover more than 1 unit of electricity, more or less 1.15. This is possible because we are using a heat pump and we are taking this thermal energy, which is not taken into account comparing only electricity. Okay. In this condition, the COP of this heat pump is more or less 2.44, and the efficiency of the power cycle is more or less 44%, more or less. So the product, the round trip efficiency, is more or less 115. Okay. Well, this is a very high temperature application, not for industrial, but for electricity grid. This is the detail of the behavior of the heat pump, as you can see here. In this heat pump, because we are using high temperature storage here and low temperature storage here, we are using this layout when the heat exchanger to the demand is in the suction of the compressor, that is in the low pressure. Okay. This is the pH diagram taking into account this position. As you can see here, in the recuperator from 0.5 to 6, from 0.5 to 6, we are taking heat from the recuperator, from the output of the compressor to 3, 2, 3. We are putting this heat here, and then we are releasing heat from 6 to 1, okay? So 5 to 6, we are taking the heat produced in the compressor, and then we are releasing the heat from 6 to 1. This is the reason of this strange line. This is the position of the heat exchanger here, okay? You can see here the temperature achieved in the product and in the source, and the relative position far away from the dome. Okay. And now let me show two industrial application, real industrial application. One is to produce compressed water. As you can see here, in this case, no thermal storage is required, so we have put the product heat exchanger in the exit, in the outlet of the compressor, high pressure, and the application may be to the beverage sector, for instance, in a beer manufacturer, in a beer factory. The product is compressed water at 210 Celsius degree to 120 Celsius degree at enough pressure to be liquid. We are going to study two cases for the source. One is white heat arriving here at 100 Celsius degree, and another case at lower value to 50 Celsius degree. Okay. With the lower temperature in the source, 50 Celsius degree, we obtain this position, this value. This is always the same. This is the requirement from the product. We obtain here a COP of 2. And very important is the liquid water outlet from 50 degree is cooled down to 9 Celsius degree. This is important because perhaps this very low temperature here can be used as chill water for another application in the same factory. Okay. As you can see here, in this case, we have now this strange line because the position is the conventional. So here in the outlet of the compressor, we are releasing the heat to the product. We are recovering this heat at this point, and we are taking from 50 to 9, as you can see here, 50, the incoming from the source. Okay, this -1 is in the CO2, but in the water is achieved this value 9. Okay, this is with a low temperature source, and this is with high temperature source of 100 Celsius degree. In this case, this has been moved up because we have a higher temperature. In this case, from 100 to 58 Celsius degree. This is 58, this is not 9, so in this case, perhaps we can use this temperature in order to warm up another streams in the factory, but in any case, we have achieved this product. In this case, because we have a higher temperature level in the source, we obtain a higher COP of 3 in this case, okay? But the performance is qualitative the same. And finally, the last application with more detail, because we have last year we supervised a master thesis dissertation about this topic, and it can be found here in Spanish, but with an extended summary in English. In this application, is the heat pump is intended to replace the existing cooling towers of a factory using the incoming process water for cooling in the tower as a source for the heat pumps here. The aim is to eliminate the makeup water and further cool the process water in order to enhance the performance of the wastewater treatment plant. Okay, the heat pump will produce process steam here, which replace the steam currently extracted from the CHP steam turbine. The electricity produced by this steam that now is not extracted from the turbine partially offsets the electricity consumption here of the pump. The heat pump will be placed next to the cooling tower to take advantage of the current pipes, and this provoked that we have used a thermal oil loop in order to move the heat produced here to the production of the steam here near the factory. Okay. Well, due to the restriction of the factory, they have two type of the bands, to 10 or to 12 absolute bars. So we have studied these two possibilities. Well, this is with 12 absolute bar. In this case, the source moves to 70 to 25 Celsius degree, and we take water from a closed river, and we produce steam at this pressure that is with this temperature. Okay, this is the temperature heat release profile. In green, the CO2, in red, the thermal oil, and this is the steam produced. Okay, with some small superheating, as you can see here. And this is the scheme, this is the pH diagram of the heat pump. This is a very large heat pump. As you can see here, we are producing 34 thermal megawatts with 1.89 value for COP. Okay. In this case, the mass flow rate of the steam is 45 tons per hour. And with the other pressure, we are producing more or less the double, 96 tons per hour, and we are producing up more than 70 thermal megawatts with a slightly higher CO2 or more than 2 points. Okay. Well, this is the size in all of these points. As you can see here, we can see the number of pipes, the nominal diameter, and the schedule of the pipes, and the main design, the main size of the main dimensions of the heat exchanger. This is an estimation about the investment with, as a summary, we can talk about a total investment more than 600 euro per thermal kilowatt. This is a render of the heat pump. There are a lot of freedom degree in order to allocate the different equipment. In this case, it was important to have a reduced footprint, so the proposition is in vertical, more or less in vertical. And this is the economic viability, the economic feasibility. This is the levelized cost of heating, euros per thermal megawatt. And this is the proportion between the two working points. Okay. Well, the key here is this value. This minus 20 is the revenues for semi-steam from the CHP, because we are avoiding the breath of the steam. So the electricity produced by this extra steam produce this negative cost, that is a revenue. This is the cost of the maintenance, very low. From this is zero. This is line is zero. This is the investment, the capex, and this is the cost of the electricity consumed, which is partially offset with this revenue. In summary, we obtain this levelized cost of heating, including capex and operation cost, which runs between 60 and 50, more or less, euros per thermal megawatt hour. It's a comparable cost to natural gas in certain conditions, natural gas plus the CO2 taxes in Europe. And it's a comparable cost, it's a competitive value with the conventional electrothermal energy storage, that is the Joule effect to produce in an electric boiler the steam. So this is another possibility which is integrated into the into the factory. So as conclusions, conventional technology, that is Rankine cycle, does not allow to reach temperature higher than 150, more or less. But reverse Brayton HP has revealed as a flexible system. It overcomes working fluid decomposition at high temperatures. CO2 is stable. CO2 has this very interesting value for global warming potential and ozone depletion potential. It overcomes high temperature issues of reciprocating compressor, the problems with valves in the outlet of the compressor, and we have a suitable temperature profile because there are no phase change. Okay. Sometimes even as we can see before, we can obtain a very low temperature in the source outlet, which can be used for chilling process or warming, depending on the range. When regarding the integration with thermal energy storage, we have shown two possibilities. So in one of the layout, it's possible to use conventional heat exchanger in order to use as a secondary float molten salt or air in order to warm up a pebble bed thermal storage. And however, there are some issues. The first and the most important is that no commercial unit with this technology exists. There are only few manufacturers as Ecogen or MAN, PAST, even Malta, but there are very little manufacturers. And there are problems with the scale. Small units, lower than 2 thermal megawatts, require quite high speed in the turbo machines. High speed can be more than 30,000 tons per minute. But large units, more than 30 thermal megawatts, require large investment. For instance, the heat pump for 70 thermal megawatts we have present. In this case, the turbo machines speed at 6,000 tons per minute. This is a usual, conventional speed, but with very low machines with this size, we move to 30,000, 70,000, and something like this. So here there is a problem that should be overcome if there will be interest in the manufacturers to move from gas turbine to this sector. No, but perhaps in future. And that's all from my side. I am open to questions.